Good morning, everyone. I'm delighted to see you. I'm just going to begin with uh, an invitation for you to center yourself here. And we will, my teacher, Pat, um, uh, always works with a centering move, which is a hand gesture, which is hand on the heart, and then a hand on your hara, which is just below the navel, 2 inches below the navel and 2 inches inside your body. And oh, it's actually my teacher, Catherine. I have really good teachers, and she uses this at the end of her practice, but we'll use this at the beginning, just to orient ourselves. So we'll think about what it means to be at the center of our being. And while we're doing that, we will um, feel ourselves grounding through our sits bones. And this will provide us with an opening to focus the mind and to let go of our worries and to simply be present. So we're centering here, we're grounding through our sit bones, and we're inhaling and we're exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. So we're going to try and keep our breath even as we move into our cat and cow. And here we are just on our hands and knees. And once again, the focus is on centering ourselves. And I'm just going to move my thing back a little bit here. There you go. Um, so here we are, centering ourselves, grounding ourselves through our hands, through our knees, and you can put your feet flat on the ground, um, the fronts of your feet. And when we're inhaling and exhaling, um, you will want to feel the full length of your spine curving. So we're going to, we'll start with an exhalation, exhaling through our nose as our spine rises up, and inhaling as our chest opens into cow, and exhaling and inhaling and exhaling and inhaling, exhaling and inhaling. And you continue in your own breath rhythm. And while you're doing that, listen to your body. How is your body opening as you move into cat? And how is it opening when you're in cow? And can you feel the full length of your spine, your lumbar spine, your thoracic spine around your ribs, and your cervical spine curving here as you're inhaling and you're exhaling? Inhaling and exhaling. Now we're going to come back into a child's pose, and I have my legs wide here. And as I come down, come back, and I'm stretching my hands out in front of me and just uh, feeling as though my fingers are moving towards the top end of the mat as my um, as my tailbone is moving back towards my ankles. So I feel a very deep stretch here. And once again, I'm just keeping my breath even. And I'm feeling myself
relax into this pose. Now we're going to walk our hands over towards your left, and I'm just stretching that right arm, fingers. It's a straight arm here. The left arm might be bent because we've curved over to that side. And we're stretching out that right arm and drawing that right hip back. So we're really feeling an elongation here. And we can imagine our breath filling up our lung on the right side, our side body, as we inhale here and we exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. And now we're going to walk back here and right across the top and over to the right, to your right side. And once again, stretching out that left hand, um, feeling as though the fingers are walking towards the corner of the room and stretching that left hip back. So there's a lovely diagonal line here as we stretch out our armpits and our side body and our arm. And now we're walking back to the center and stretching out one more time, a really big stretch. And now we're going to come up into puppy pose. And so here we have our knees below our hips. And as we stretch out our hands, we feel our heart melt. So this is called puppy pose. It's also called heart melting pose. So it's a pretty obvious description of what's happening. Your heart is moving down uh, to the ground, and you are opening your armpits here. If it's too much, you just come up at any time and go back into it, or come up and go back into child's pose. So we're going to hold this for a moment or two as we just feel with the duration of the pose, we feel that our body is opening further to the ground. And we're inhaling and exhaling into that excellent expanded chest and into our back body and into our side body. And we'll inhale into our belly here, and then our ribs, and then our upper chest. And then we'll exhale from the top down. And we'll do it one more time. And now we're going to just walk our hands back and go back into tabletop. And we'll lift our left arm up and move it underneath our body, and lift our left arm up and move it underneath our body. Left arm up and underneath our body. Left arm up and underneath our body. And last time, lifting it up, and then we're going to move it underneath our body and settle down onto that shoulder. And here you can rest your head on the ground, and you can keep this hand on the palm on the flat on the ground to keep your balance, or you can lift that arm up, bend your elbow, and put it behind your sacrum with the back of your hand on your sacrum here. And here you'll want to feel that top shoulder lifting up as you turn towards the ceiling. So you're just increasing the twist here slightly, if that's in your interest to you. If not, you can keep that hand on the ground for support. I'm putting that hand back down, lifting that arm up one more time and putting it down. And we'll try the other side, lifting up and coming under, lifting up and coming under. And here we're inhaling as we're opening up and exhaling as we're coming down. And the next one, we're going to stay down, inhaling and then exhaling down. And once again, you can keep this hand flat here, or you can lift it up, turn your arm, bend your elbow, and put it flat on your sacrum. And here you can open the shoulder up and feel yourself rotating slightly more towards the side. This is just a bit of an increase in your twist, if that interests you. And we're breathing here, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. And now let's put that hand down again and lift up your arm and put that down. Good. Let's just stretch our arms forward slightly, come back towards your child's pose, but curl your toes under and move into a downward dog. Now, it's very early in the morning here and I'm quite stiff, so I'm just going to bend my knees here and stretch my tailbone back, press into my hands, feel my shoulders. I have to move my hands out a bit to make sure I'm in the right position, and feel my shoulders opening, and also feel my my hamstrings and my Achilles tendon stretching here. And I'm just going to pedal my feet slightly, just to open out my calves. And I'm doing this because our hamstrings are these long muscles and they're very strong and tight. And if I don't stretch my calves out, I find that when I am in downward dog, I overstretch the tendons at the top of my leg, and that is not good. So I have to make sure that when I'm stretching my hamstrings, I'm stretching from the heels all the way up my Achilles, all the way up my calves, into my thighs, and stretching the whole muscle there. And I'm just holding here. My head is loose, and I'm rotating my upper arms and shoulders out here, and pressing into my hands, feeling my palms are my index finger is really pressing down. So my whole hand is pressing down here. Good. Now we're going to bend our knees and just come back down into child's pose. And this time we're going to take our arms, stretch them out around us, and then draw them back and let those shoulders have a bit of a rest as we put our forehead on the floor. Good. All right. So let's go back into the downward dog here. And we're going to do some leg raises here. So I'm just taking my left leg up and I'm stretching it up and pointing the toe and pressing into my hands into a kind of split here. And now I'm going to put that foot down and I'm going to stretch the other foot up and feel that I am on 3 supports. Point my toe here, stretch my leg up, but I am centered nonetheless. All right, and now I'm going to put that foot down again, and I'll go back into downward dog briefly, breathing here into my back body, my side body, through my nose. And I'm going to have a couple of sighs here, so I'm going to inhale and then exhale with a sigh. Ha. And inhale and exhale with a sigh. Ah. Last time, inhale and exhale with a sigh. All right, let's lift up on our toes and come down onto our knees. And let's just lift our left leg forward and into this little lunge. And we'll have our arms out. Once again, we're thinking about what is the center of our body here. Where is our hara, which is 2 inches below our belly and 2 inches inside. And we're just going to rotate towards one side. And then we're going to rotate towards the other. Feeling centered here. Feeling our shoulders moving in a different direction, giving them a little bit of a break from that strong support they have to give us when we're in downward dog, etc. Good. Now let's put our hands down here and stretch our leg out on the heel and move forward. Once again, we're stretching our hamstring and our inner groin here. And we are going to be moving towards the foot as we are balancing here. You can have your foot flat, the back foot flat on the ground, the front of it, or you could use your toes. You could use this as a little bit of a toe stretch and turn your toes under. You could hold on to your toes here if you like and draw them back. That will increase the stretch. And now we're just going to come forward here and we're going to stretch out that inner hip flexor. And if you like, I'm just up here with my both hands on the inside of the front foot. And if you like, you could stretch up your back leg and press out through that back heel and feel the opening in your groin. And if you are interested, you could lower that back leg if you like and come down onto your forearms and then lift the back leg up. Or you could simply be balancing there with your knee on the ground. And you'll find you're asymmetrical. And this is a pose that doesn't always work for you. So you decide what you want to do. I'm going to come down because this morning I don't have a lot of longevity in this lizard, it seems, but I am pressing out through my back heel and pressing my front foot down. And I'm lowering the back leg and I'm going to come back up and feel there's a different movement here, a different opening. And then I'm just going to draw back one more time, stretching that front hamstring. And then I'm going to bring that leg back and I'm going to come back into a toe squat here, toe sit, just to open up my toes here. I find if I do this every single day, my toes are much more mobile. I broke both my ankles, but one of them healed better than the other. And I was developing a bunion on one side. And I find with more mobile toes, my bunion issue is lessening. It's just not developing the way it was. So it's very good for me to do this. And I'm sure it will be good for you, even though it's very painful. So you can come out of it whenever you like. You develop stamina and resilience in this yin pose. And so you can come out, right now. You could flap the fronts of your feet on the floor behind you and then go back into it, or you could just sit in hero pose with your on the fronts of your feet, or you could sit in a cross-legged position. I'm just breathing here, feeling that my toes are stretching, which is the point of it. Okay, now I'm going to come forward. Ooh, not easy. And then I'm going to just gently slap the fronts of my feet here. That feels like tremendous release. All right. So let's take the other foot forward. I'm going to turn around here so I can face you here. I'm going to take the other foot forward and just sitting up here, and then I'm drawing that leg forward. I'm going to bend at the hip here and draw myself towards that foot. You could hold on to the toes and draw that back. That will increase the stretch in your hamstring here. And I'm just really feeling that uh, hip just really stretching. I'm stretching here in the glute behind the leg, the lower torso. All right, and now let's come up again. And once again, we're going to open up this hip flexor as we move forward, and we're just going to take this position of which is moving towards the lizard, and I'm going to just stretch out that hip flexor. And now I'm going to come back a few times, going back and forth, just to give us a bit more mobility here. And now let's come back this way. And now we're going to just stay here. And so you can stay up here. You could lift the back knee if that interests you. Or you could lower the back knee and come down onto your forearms and then lift the back knee. Or you could just come down with the back knee lifted. So you decide what is good for you. Now, here is the hip flexor and the glutes and all of the upper hip in the opposite leg. It is really feeling that opening here, that stretch. And you're just breathing here, pressing into the back heel. And you can move on to the outer edge of the front foot if that helps. And that will give you a different stretch in your groin. Now I'm going to lower the knee and press myself up. And for the last moment, I'm just going to lift up that back knee and feel myself, my chest rising up. And now I'm putting the knee down and coming back. Good. And I'm just going to come back into tabletop, and I'm going to just do one more round of cat and cow just to open up my spine. And once again, I'm feeling the center of my body, that hara, just below my navel. I'm feeling that move towards the center of the earth. And as though there's a cord that's drawing up my spine from the center of the earth, I'm feeling a good deal of energy moving through my body. Good. Now let's just go back onto our heels, and we're just going to walk back towards our feet and dangle here for a moment. And let's open up our arms, inhaling and coming all the way up and looking up. Good. I'm just going to adjust the camera here to give us a bit more space. Good. All right. So here we are. I feel really very limber now. I'm just going to do a few head movements, neck movements here. So I'm just going to drop one to one side and then the other, one side and the other, one side and the other. And now I'm going to drop forward And I can't drop my head back, but if your neck isn't bothering you, you could drop your head back forward. And I'm looking at my nose, the tip of my nose, and back. I'm looking at the tip of my nose and forward. I'm looking at that space between my eyebrows and back. I'm looking at the tip of my nose and forward and back. Good. Now let's see how you are feeling in terms of your Tadasana, your mountain pose. And we'll just do a few standing poses just to stretch our whole body out, take advantage of the earlier movements. So we're just going to open our arms up, and we may need a block. So I should have told you this before. Perhaps a block or two. You might need a block or two, and you might need a sip of water. I'm just going to keep my blocks here, and I've a wide stance here, and I have my hands on my hips just to feel where my hip bones are, as I'm going to be turning my front foot, uh, to the toes towards the short end of the mat, and making sure that my hips are facing as much as they can towards the long end of the mat. And then I'm just tilting my hip back like I'm doing the tango and stretching that front arm forward and then dropping down. Now, you could put your hand on your shin. You could have a block behind your foot and rest your fingers on that. The object here is to try to keep the space between your lower ribs and your hips elongated on both sides, which is tricky. And you might not be able to come down quite so low if you are bending here. It's easy to come down like this. It's harder to come down with that side body extended. And then you're going to lift up and look up. And here I am thinking about the snow falling. It's beautiful winter days here, and the snow is falling. And now I'm going to come up and turn the other way and move into a triangle again. I'm going to take that block over to the other side. And just once again, tilt that hip back, stretch the arm out, feel the stretch of the arm in both directions. And so, let's just see if we can center our body here. If our feet are, the back foot is turned in, the front is pointing towards the short end. We're stretching our arms, feeling the center of our body, and we're feeling that xiphoid process, that little bony, spear-headed bony thing at the bottom of our sternum, and our pelvis are on one plane. So you might have your pelvis sticking out. You might want to draw it in so that they're on one plane. Good. And now we're going to tilt back, stretching out and dropping down. Now you might not go down quite so far in this side, or you might find this side is looser. And we're just going to look up towards that hand and just breathe. Breathe, inhaling and exhaling, and turning your chest towards the ceiling. Now let's come up. Good. And let's turn those feet towards the front, and we can take 2 blocks depending on your flexibility, and we can have 2 blocks here, and we can stretch them out here, or we could have them on a different level, or we could have our hands on the ground. So you decide what you need to do. I'm going to have my hands on the ground. I'm just going to stretch out. My toes are pointing towards the front, and I am feeling here, I could bend both knees slightly. And if it's too much for you, you can come up higher. But I'm going to bend my knees slightly here, And at the same time, I'm going to feel my tailbone tip up. Then I'm going to straighten my knees. And that will help me move down a little bit further. Now, with the blocks or without, you decide how you want to go. You're going to move over towards your left side, and then you're going to just stay here, really feeling the stretch of your upper body, pressing into the outer edge of the opposite foot. So you're grounded on both feet here, and you could hold onto your ankles here and use your elbows to draw yourself down. And now we're going to come back with or without the blocks towards the center. And then we're going to go back over to the other side. And I'm going to hold on to my ankle, bend my elbows, and draw myself down, feeling that my pelvis is at the center. And I've got a lot of weight on one side, but I'm feeling I'm pressing into the other foot. So I'm trying to think about what the center of my body is, even in this pose. And now I'm going to come back and I'm drawing my hands underneath me. You could have blocks here if you wanted. I'm drawing my hands underneath me and pressing into my hands. And I am feeling that I am tilting here and the top of my head is moving towards the mat. Now, you could put a block underneath the crown of your head here, just so you feel it. So here, I'm balancing on my feet and on the crown of my head. And you could hold on to your ankles if that's in your wheelhouse. If not, you're using your hands on the ground. I'm just breathing here, feeling once again centered in the middle of my body. Good. Now let's put our hands down again and we can draw them underneath our shoulders. And then I'm going to wiggle my feet in slightly just so I have more balance here. And I'm going to put my hands on my hip and come right up. Good. All right. So let's do a couple of balance poses. I'm very bad at them, but we'll do this and then we will go back down to the mat. So I'm just standing on it would be your right foot. And this is a very wonky, wobbly ankle for me. So I'm just going to take I'm holding on to something. You might be in the center of the room. And I am going to just do an internal rotation of my hip, an external rotation of my hip. Then I'm sending that foot back. And now another internal rotation, external, internal, external, and then bringing my hip back. And this time I'm going to, the last time, internal, external, and then back. And then I'm going to draw that knee up. And you can put the foot on the bottom here on your calf, or you can raise it up further if you like. And I'm pressing the foot into the thigh, and I am trying to balance, which is hopeless for me at this side, but I'm going to work on it. So you can fall into and out of it. If you fall down, no problem. Get right back up. Oops. All right. And we're breathing here. I have my hands in prayer pose. You could raise them up if you like. So there are lots of variations here, which you can accomplish, and I cannot. All right. Oops. I'm just going to draw my knee up here, and then I'm going to bring it down. Okay. So I'm going to try the other side. Have a sip of water here. It's important to hydrate yourself while you're doing your yoga. And once again, I'm going to lift my front leg up and then back, and then internal rotation, external rotation, and then back. And really see if you can lift up that leg, internal, external, and then back, internal, external, and back. And last time, internal, external, and back. And now let's lift that knee up and then press it. I'm pressing it into my thigh, and I'm pressing my thigh into my foot. So, and I'm just going to, this foot is much better for balancing. So I'm just going to put my hands in prayer position, pressing my foot into the thigh. Oops.
And oops, oops, finding a drishti, a point somewhere on the floor ahead of you, not so that you have to drop your head. And you have, you're focusing on that. You may be tense trying to balance, but the point of the drishti is to have soft eyes. So you are very gently looking at that point, focusing. It will help you maintain your balance, and you'll find a sense of equilibrium and centering here. Good. Very nice. Good. Now let's lower that, lift up that knee first, and then we'll lower it down. Good. Now let's just move down um, to the floor. And you could keep one block with you. And if you want, you could have a blanket nearby if you want something to cover you up when you're in Shavasana. We're going to just do some final twists here and a little inversion. So I'm just going to lift my knees up here, hold on to them, stretch them up, my feet up, and I'm just going to rest here, feeling the weight of my body on my back body. You might have a blanket, a small blanket underneath your head, just to tip your forehead above your chin. It depends on your neck and how you're feeling. And here I'm just feeling the uh, femur moving into the hip joint here. It's a uh, lovely pose. And if you like, you could take your block and you could put it underneath your sacrum and do the same thing and see how that feels. Might not feel good for you, but if it does, it's also a slight back bend here. So, and it's difficult to figure out where is up when you're like this. I often have my legs too far over, so you can maybe locate the sense of up and this 90-degree angle by looking at yourself in the camera. You can sometimes do that. And now I'm just going to open my legs out here. Let gravity do a bit of the opening in the inner leg. And then I'm going to close it up. And I'm going to do that a few more times so I'm controlling it and I'm breathing easily. Good. Now I'm bringing my legs together and I'm going to bend my knees and I'm going to drop both of them down, my feet down here, so that I'm in a small bridge pose. And I'm just going to press my feet into the ground, and then I'm going to hold on to the block or clasp my hands underneath my torso, and I'm just going to lift my hip up here. So you decide how you want to move your hands. You could just hold on to the block. And then I'm pressing into my feet. I'm really shifting my pelvis up and my thighs up and my chest up as I breathe here. And now I'm just going to roll down back onto that block. And I'm going to lift my knees up again. And now this time I'm going to just walk my feet out, and I might have to adjust the block underneath my sacrum, and I'm extending my legs out. Now you might have both of your knees just here, and you might stretch one leg out, your one heel out, you're pressing into your heel, and you might bring it back and press the other one out, or you might press both of them out in this low back bend. And here is my hara, here's my navel, 2 inches below and 2 inches inside is the center of my body. And I'm feeling that I am opening in my body. You should feel nothing, no pain in your lower body, in lower back at all.
your the block is supporting your sacrum, and you are feeling a deep sense of release here as you inhale and exhale. And let's have 3 more breaths here. So inhale right into the belly, into the ribs, into the upper chest, and then exhale. Inhale into the belly, into the ribs, into the upper chest, and then exhale. Into the belly, ribs, upper chest, and then exhale. Good. And now let's just bend our knees and plant our feet on the ground, lift up, remove the block. And here you can stretch your tailbone and you can really rotate your pelvis up as you come down vertebra by vertebra, and then come up, hold on to your knees and give yourself a little hug. And you can move your knees around slightly in one direction, and then you can move them in the other, giving your back a little massage. Now let's just open out your hands to the side, and you can put your feet down here and just drop your knees to one side. You could lift the upper leg up and draw that foot underneath the lower, and that will give you a deeper twist. Or you could just have your legs, your knees flopping to the side. And you can use the hand on your thigh to gently draw that leg closer to the ground, giving yourself a deeper twist. Breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And now we're coming up, putting our legs down, and we're just dropping. You could lift your hips up and move them to one side, and then drop your knees to the other side and look at the opposite arm. And if you want a further stretch, you could lift that top leg up and put the foot underneath the thigh of the other leg, and then use the weight of that to twist you even further. Your shoulders both of your shoulders are on the ground if you can manage it. And you'll want to feel the twist, but you don't want to feel any pain. You could put your hand gently on your thigh and feel that even the modest weight of that draws your hip over a little bit more. And we're breathing here. Now we're going to come back up, put our feet on the ground, draw our hands through our knees, and hold on to our feet. I like ending a practice like this because it allows you really to feel the power of the squat. This is an inverted squat, and we're basically squatting on the ceiling. And you can really feel, you can draw those knees down to the ground, and you can move your feet around if you like. You can do a little bit of movement on your back. And I just find it a terrific release. All right, let's just put your feet back on the ground and extend them out. You can leave your knees bent, of course. You could have a blanket to cover yourself up if you're cold. And I'm just going to invite you to turn your palms up, and lift your shoulders up, and then draw the shoulder blades down your back and open out your chest. We often end up in a space on the floor with our shoulders hunched up. So I'm just inviting you to open your chest here. And you can really feel, having done that work with the block underneath your sacrum, I really feel that my sacrum is on the ground, and my pelvis is in the right spot. There's no strain at all. And I'm just inhaling and exhaling. And I'll inhale once, And then sigh. Ah. And inhale again. And sigh. Ah. Inhale one more time. And then exhaling with a sigh. Ah. And just find your own breath here, slowing everything down, feeling the skin on the top of your skull, letting go and dropping away from the crown of your head, feeling the skin on your cheeks, dropping down and letting go, feeling your forehead, the skin on your forehead, relaxing and letting go, feeling your lips open, your jaw slightly open. The tongue might be in your lower jaw, and your breath is coming easily. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And I'm just going to leave you in final relaxation, and you can come out of it in your own time, or you can stay there for a good length of time. I'm going to uh, thank you for joining me, and I'm bowing deeply in gratitude. Thank you.